Welcome to Box Rise, a new greyhound racing show focusing predominantly on Bendigo greyhounds, but also featuring some of the big races from around Victoria and other parts of Australia when they come up. And obviously at the moment there's plenty of that happening as well. What we'll do most weeks is start with some highlights of the Bendigo racing as well as racing around the country. But this week the main highlight was the Sandown Shootout, the 4-dog challenge at Sandown last Thursday night. And we're about to catch a replay of Tigalong Tonk, the roughie of the field, defeating a hot 4-dog lineup.
Away and racing, and Christo Bale left well out fast. Tigalong Tonk, and he's going to spear across and lead from Shimmer Shine, Hardstyle Rico. Christo Bale checked to last down the railway side. The outsider, Tigalong Tonk, slipped away, led by 4 lengths to Shimmer Shine, Hardstyle Rico. They start to close in. A breakaway, Christo Bale. It's still Tigalong Tonk. 3-4 lengths to Shimmer Shine. The Top Gun champs closing in. Tigalong Tonk the leader though, and it's his shootout. Tigalong Tonk by a length and a half. Too good for Shimmer Shine. Third out wide, Christo Bale. Last of the 4, Hardstyle.
As I said before that replay, the outside of the field, in the 4-dog field, Tigalong Tonk straight to the front and back to his best, as trainer Corey Grenfell said, and certainly a much-deserved big race victory. He's been a greyhound that's contended big races all his life and has won a couple of them, but more recently has filled the minor placings behind either kennel mates or other top-line greyhounds. Been outstanding performance there, and one of the best 4-dog fields you ever see. When a dog like Hardstyle Rico and Catch the Thief, I should say, was a reserve in the race, it just shows what type of race that was, and Tigalong Tonk was outstanding. That was the first of the features of the Sandown Melbourne Cup Carnival, of course, right smack bang in the middle of the Metropolitan Festival of Racing. That's the first time Greyhound Racing Victoria and the Meadows and Sandown Greyhound Racing Club have hosted the Metropolitan Festival of Racing. And we focus now this week on the big one, the Melbourne Cup, the TAB Melbourne Cup for 2020. And we'd introduce now and welcome in the Chief Executive Officer of the Sandown Greyhound Club, Adrian Scott. How are you, Adrian?
I'm very good, thanks Troy, and thanks for having me on your show, and I look forward to watching its success.
Yeah, mate, hopefully it improves a little bit. We'll see how we go today, but obviously we start at the top of the guess of having Adrian Scott from the Sandown Greyhound Club start. I'm not really sure how our guest can improve, but certainly the presentation can. But mate, firstly, you started at the start of 2020 in your new role. It's been an interesting year. Sandown's one club that generally puts on extravaganza and event after event. You've done none.
No, this year's been a little bit different, Troy, for everyone, as you know, and it's been a challenge for the racing industry across all 3 codes, and Sandown certainly hasn't escaped the challenge. So it is a bit different, mate, and having a big event like the Melbourne Cup come up now and no crowds, it's disappointing, but we've got to deal with what we've got. So.
But one thing Sandown did do, I guess, is start the initiative of some of these Facebook Live shows with the coverage of the Sandown Cup back in May, I think that was now. And a few of us, the country clubs and obviously metropolitan clubs, have continued to do that. So obviously from that negative of not being able to have you on course, we've had the positive of being able to do those types of live shows, and no doubt between Thrill of the Chase and your own stuff, you've got a fair bit planned for Melbourne Cup.
Yeah. So the Thrill of the Chase started last Sunday, and I'll be on again this Sunday with a live coverage of the box draw for the Melbourne Cup after the heats on Friday night, and then there'll be a live coverage of the Cup the following Friday night on Thrill of the Chase. So we're pretty excited by that, and it's certainly been a great initiative by Greyhound Racing Victoria to put that production together. So it's great for the industry.
I talk about great initiatives. As we said, Sandown have always been one to do certain promotions and different promotions and set the trends in some of that. And this year you've done that with the Community Club Sweep through Greyhound Clubs Victoria. Can you give us a bit of a background and insight for those who aren't aware of what the Community Club Sweep is in terms of the Melbourne Cup?
Yeah, so we put a concept together here with Mick Floyd and myself and Jason Adams, where we would try and make the Cup a little bit more inclusive of the industry, and with a sort of a bit of a wholesale approach to getting all the regional clubs involved. So the dogs were all grouped into 11 groups, and each country club drew a group, and out of that group, the clubs have allocated a local organisation that supports them throughout the year. So, we hope to get some great buy-in by different clubs across Victoria. So, and we already have we've had clubs from Sale and the clubs from northern part of Victoria up your way, and then across as far as Horsham already tag in on Facebook. So that's great, and we're achieving what we set out to do.
So hopefully building a nice new audience, and also I feel that these community clubs and country clubs earning a little bit of prize money along the way.
Yeah, so there's $10,000 up for grabs there, Troy. I think the winner gets 5, and then you end up with a runner in the Cup. You pick up $500, and then there's a Facebook comp worth $1,000. So it's a pretty simple concept to put together, and I'm fairly confident all the clubs will get behind it and promote it with different organisations.
That's terrific, mate. The Cup heats are probably as good as you could possibly imagine, as they are every year. But the quality of racing, I think, this year, and particularly in greyhound racing and harness racing, it's been a shame we haven't been able to have crowds with the depth that we've had in terms of the ability and the talent of those animals. But we'll have a bit of a quick look, I suppose, at each of the races. We'll get some slides in terms of the fields put up there so that people who haven't quite caught the fields can have a look at it. But heat number 1, which is race 3 on the night of the TAB Melbourne Cup. But you're probably looking at Shimmer Shine, obviously, the Top Gun winner and runner-up in the shootout. He'll start an odds-on favourite, I would think, in heat number 1, and he's currently the $5.50 pre-post favourite for the major final. But he's an odds-on favourite in heat number 1 with playlist in heat number 8. How do you see Shimmer Shine from box number 3 going in heat number 1?
Yeah, because he's owned by David Gleeson, who's a long-time board member here, and so there's plenty of interest at Sandown around Shimmer Shine. And gee whiz, if he runs up to that run, he put in a couple of starts ago, he's going to take a fair bit of beating.
Yeah, and of course, another one of David Gleeson's product produced a pretty impressive maiden victory there on Sunday. So he invests plenty in the sport, but he's got a fair bit of luck too, Dave.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see. You like to see people who've put a lot into it, get something out of it. So Shimmer Shine will certainly have plenty of support down this end, Troy.
Absolutely, mate, and good luck to Shimmer Shine and the connection. So heat number 2, which is race number 4, probably a reasonably open race. You've got Last Hurrah at $3.40 at the moment on TAB fixed odds, and Aston Silk in box number 2 at $4.60, Lucy's Milo $7.50, Jim Zardashian $6. So a pretty open race. How did you see heat number 2?
Yeah, this is, as you said, this is probably the most open of the 8 heats. So probably got a bit of a leaning for Aston Silk for myself, but it is any of the 8 can win that for you.
Heat number 3 is headed up by Handsome Prince, the $1 million chase winner, a former Tasmanian that with Peter Lagagione has done some amazing things, and to run 29.13 in the trial at Sandown last week was certainly an impressive performance, as is seeing a bank prize money of $1 million in the race book. But it's a $2.40 favourite from box number 2 for heat number 3. Aussie Secret, a greyhound that kicked off his career here at Bendigo over the Vic Breeder Series over the Cup Carnival, at $5.50. People Get Ready at $6.50, Jack's Bale $7.50, Weblek A $6. Another reasonably open race taking out the favourite, but if Handsome Prince runs up to his trial, can you see him getting beat?
No, it runs up to that time, Troy. It's all over. There'll be plenty of interest in Ned McDonald's style. People Get Ready just to see whether he can handle that jumping class.
Yeah, young Ned, with 20 years of age, I think, or early 20s, and already having runners in Group 1 races, which is outstanding. And Handsome Prince is currently a $7.50 third pick for the Melbourne Cup final. Race number 6 is heat 4 of the TAB Melbourne Cup, and probably another reasonable race here. Tigalong Tonk, after his shootout winners, an even money favourite at the moment with TAB, ahead of Immunity at $3.70, and those two pretty much dominate the betting. But there's plenty of depth around there with the young dogs like Zipping Albert as well, but you would think that Tigalong Tonk or Immunity, one of those two, would be hard to beat.
Yeah, I think you're on the money there, mate, but I'll go with you.
That's a worry. Heat number 5 sees the second favourite in pre-post betting as Simon Told Helen at $6 with TAB at the moment. It is a $2.15 favourite at the moment with TAB for the heat, just ahead of Zipping Bram, the very strong Zipping Bram at $3.90, which is probably better suit over the further trip. But obviously the way the greyhound's ability is, it's a $3.90 second favourite behind Simon Told Helen. And again, as you'd expect, those two greyhounds currently dominate the market. But Simon Told Helen, can he make his way through another Group 1 final?
Yeah, you would think so. He might just need he won't want to do anything wrong from box 4, and Zipping Bram's actually trialled here fairly quickly too. So it could be an interesting race, that.
Yeah, very quickly, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, very quickly.
Mate, heat number 6, probably another one of the open races. Actually, you got 320 Tommy Shelby, the greyhound with Kel Greener, the West Australian, with pretty much his own fan base. Tommy Shelby, what he does for charities through greyhound racing, promoting greyhound racing. He's 320, just ahead of $3.30. Zipping Zeke from box number 1, another one of the young Ned McDonald kennel, and Short Pork for Anthony as a party, going for back-to-back Melbourne Cup since at $5.50, and Catch the Thief at $5. Probably the forgotten Group 1 performer of the current crop at the moment, but a pretty open race again. How do you see heat number 6?
Yeah, you're right. They've probably dropped off Catch the Thief a little bit in the last couple of starts, but there'll be plenty of support from Gippsland, particularly the Sale region, around getting him home. And if he runs up to his best, he's right in this. Tommy Shelby, I dare say, the chairman of our board will be cheering loudly for Tommy. Look, I'm going to go with Catch the Thief.
Yep, very good. He He's a multiple Group 1 winner, so he's going to be nice and hard to beat. There's no question of that. And he's a bit of value as well. And I think even if you're looking at the pre-post for the big one, he's currently $31 fixed to win and $8.50 to run a place. So if you think Catch the Thief can win the heat, the $8.50 a place is probably a pretty reasonable bet at the moment with TAB for next week's Melbourne Cup final. At heat number 7 is race number 9. We've got Hardstyle Rico at $2.10 ahead of Cherry at $4.20 and Stardom at $7.50. Hardstyle Rico from box number 8. He's got a pretty good record from the draw. He's run the 29-3 at Sandown. Can he add the Silver Bullet trophy to a Melbourne Cup heat victory as well?
Yeah, I think he can, Troy. He wasn't far away in the shootout last week, and his couple of runs before that, I thought he looked terrific. So I'm happy to put my hard-earned on Hardstyle Rico.
But the last heat is race number 10 at 9:57 on Friday night. We've got Music Event for Mick Carter in box number 3, and box number 1 at the $3 favourite, just ahead of Great Chase winner Dr. Tuckett for Billy McMahon at $3.30. Those two greyhounds, along with Christo Bale, whose runs have been absolutely outstanding over the shorter trips, they're probably 3 dogs that dominate this heat. Are you looking at the wings, or are you looking at Christo Bale storming home over the top of them?
Probably got a bit of a leaning for Dr. Tucker. I don't know. The jump up and fast, you might test him out a little bit, but it'd be nice to see another Gippsland dog get into the Cup final, Troy. But Music Event's not without a chance either.
And obviously the main support race is the Bold Treese, named after the legendary stayer that won the 4 Sandown Cups. There's a couple of exciting heats there. Of course, last week Tornado of Tears broke the $1 million barrier with his victory at the Meadows. It's interesting, I think Mick Floyd did some statistics, 957 days or something like that since he had his first staying race. And this is his first box 1 over the staying trip. He comes up in race number 1. He's an odds-on favourite in the first heat of the Bold Treese.
Yeah, he's been a phenomenal greyhound, hasn't he? So, we'd probably get behind him, I think.
He looks the winner, I'd say. But Sir Truculent, its run behind Tornado Tears at Meadows was okay, and then went back to Angle Park and won by 10 lengths there. So certainly can't be discarded. And Houdini Boy, his performance over the 5.95 at Sandown last Sunday was pretty impressive. The 6th fastest Sandown 5.95 run, and I would think probably the record run home, was it, in terms of what he clocked?
Yeah, they were talking about that, Troy. So yeah, you're probably on the money there, and. He's a pretty exciting dog at his best, and I think everyone's been waiting for him to step up to this distance and see what he can actually do. So, Crawborn, right, dog on the improve too. So
yeah, he certainly is, and obviously he's got the distance experience. Has won a couple of 700s in New South Wales, and here's Tears, the younger brother of Tornado Tears. They quelled the race the other day, so it's certainly got to be a chance as well. Just looking at the pre-post market there for the Bold Treese, you've got Houdini Boy's $3 favourite with TAB at the moment, ahead of Sunset Burbsky at $5 and Tornado Tears at $5 and Manila Night at $7 as well. But mate, if you had to have a pre-post tip for those 2 races, if we look at the Melbourne Cup first, looking towards Friday week's final, what would you be looking at pre-post?
Oh, gee, you just put me on the bloody spot here a little bit.
Come on, the chairman of Greyhound Clubs Victoria should be ready for these questions.
Yeah, probably should be. I don't know.
You've got to say Shimmer Shine, otherwise Gleeson will be blowing up, won't he?
Yeah, Shimmer Shine. Look, that Handsome Prince, his trial, he was sensational. So if he runs up to that, yeah.
And look at those pre-post markets. Like the win fixed odds probably look skinny on some of them compared to the price you're going to get in the heats. But you look at the place markets. Handsome Prince, if he wins, he's $2.62 pre-post as far as the place market goes. So there's certainly no issue there in terms of getting some value with the TAB and the Bold Treese. If we're looking at Houdini Boy over the 700 or Tornado Tears.
No, I'm going to go with Houdini Boy. So.
Excellent, no worries, mate. Thanks very much for joining us. I think next week we might try and catch up with Jason Adams and do a bit of a form preview of the main feature races for your big night on Friday night. But we certainly thank you very much for joining us tonight, and all the best with the heats on Friday night and all your coverage going forward for the week and the promotions for the week and for the final the following week, mate. And what is it, $435,000 to the winner?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me, Troy, and thank you to Paul, and good luck with the show, guys.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll probably catch up with Jason next week from Sandown as well. To close the show, we'll look at a few of tips for Bendigo. I think Friday's race meeting at Bendigo is one of as good a race meetings we've had in a long, long time, and a fair bit of that is actually as a result of the heats of the provincial plate that we're currently conducting. My two best bets for Bendigo on Friday: Dark Arrow Race 5, number 1 for Johnny Westlow in the Distance Challenge. There's been an outstanding form, and I think he'll be winning from box number 1. Follow that up in race 6, number 1 with Sunny Days. Been an outstanding race meeting here on Friday afternoon. It's at heats of the provincial plate. Very interested to see the exciting sprinter Pappy Go Fast step up to 500 metres in his heat of the provincial plate. Been an outstanding 12 race program here on Friday, leading straight into that night meeting at Sandown on Friday night. We certainly look forward to all the racing action, both the Friday and all of this over the weekend, and we should be able to catch up next week as well. Before we do go, we will give a bit of a wrap to the local winners from last week. We always do that where we can do these shows. Reasonably quiet week on the local winners front this week, but the big achiever was Rod Clark. He had a treble at Horsham on Tuesday, November 17, but we had Scott Manning winning at Shepparton last Tuesday, I should say, with Believer. Callum Blake with Winlock Squirts, and Mark Johnson with Empire Baz. Warrnambool, Ian Garland made the long trip to Warrnambool with Aston Mauve winning there. Barry Hiscock, the Vice President here at Bendigo, won a race here last week with Mackay Bluey. Cranbourne Saturday morning meeting, a couple of early starters. Greg Berry and Bernard Seymour went there, winning with Trickster Kabang and Typhoon Tessie, respectively. Julie Kulcock got a double at Shepparton on the 14th with Aston Tribute and Indominus. Scott Gibson also won there with Cornhill Tiger. At Shepparton on the 16th, we had Aaron Dibatisa with Visualiser and Ray Hennis with No Payer. Then at Healesville, Josh Formosa and Jared Larkin got winners with Structure and Unanswered. And as we said, Rod Clark had a treble at Horsham yesterday with Giants Flash, Husky Fly and Aston Current. So they were our local winners for the week. We'll certainly do that each and every week. We'll probably open the show with our local winners and give them a wrap and keep including our guests. And thanks very much for joining us on the initial version of Box Rise. We'll be back again next week with another edition and more of the Racing and Review. Good luck with all your investments and happy racing.